Hello and welcome to Ark's training for Microsoft Teams. As you can see, I've got my Teams window open here. I've just actually selected the team that I'm in, called Simon. I'm actually in this team 3 times, so just to double check that, I'm just going to go to manage my team. Here's my members, that's me. I'm obviously the ICT technician and trainer, Simon. Hi, how are we doing? And then I've got myself down as a guest. I have 2 different guest accounts which I can actually use to demonstrate exactly what we're doing. So there are 2 main ways of actually joining or making a conversation within Teams. Method number 1, we can actually just use this icon here and we can hit Meet Now. What that will do is that opens up a nice new window and it will actually meet now. We can actually put in a subject if we want, so we'll just say help me, I am being held prisoner, which is actually a title of a book, by the way. So help me, I'm being held prisoner, and we can hit Meet Now. And then what this will do is this will actually phone the other people. So let me just, this is a little bit Inception-like because I actually have a second laptop that's running a couple of different teams. So we've actually now got a bit of an Inception kind of thing going on. I have 3 versions of me, which isn't bizarre at all. So with any amount of luck and a following breeze, let me just unmute. Let me turn video on for that. Okay, so this should be the 3rd me turning up. There we go. Okay, now obviously what we can see on the screen is obviously me a couple of times. We have me down in the bottom right corner. This is actually what gets projected to everybody else's screen. This is actually one of the screens from my other laptop. We can have our 3 people down here, that's absolutely fine. So let's have a look. What I would like to do is, what I would like to do is I want to blur my background out, so I'm going to hit these 3 little dots here, which are more options, and we're going to go to show background effects. Well, we can see up here, by default we've got nothing. We can actually blur our background effect. I'm not quite sure why this isn't working. Here we go. So we can actually blur our background. So I'm just going to quickly apply that for a moment. And you can see my background is slightly blurred out at the back there. We can also change it to anything within these default images. So let's just say we're actually in a classroom, so I'm going to select the classroom one there. And I'm going to click apply. And there you go, I'm now in a classroom. So now you can't see the doors behind me. This is just what obviously anybody else can see. Obviously look down in the bottom right, don't look at this guy over here. So that is a very easy and effective way of blurring out your background. If you're going to do that, if you're going to actually choose a background, you can obviously choose any of the default ones that are in there, that's no problem at all. But try and keep it a little bit on the professional side, a little bit on the plain, boring, vanilla side of life. There are ways and means that you can upload your own sort of images. As you can see, I've done here. So I've got Iron Man one there, and there's an Ark Microsoft Teams. Let's have a look at that one. There we go. It will look back to front here, but I promise you, when you're looking at it from the remote point of view, it is not back to front. It's exactly how it should look. So don't worry, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to try and make your background flip round and all of that sort of stuff. It does actually come out fine. It's just the way that your camera is displayed on your local PC. We can also, I should point out this, the blurring of backgrounds and putting up different wallpapers and stuff behind you, that can be very dependent on the laptop or computer that you're using. It's dependent on the processor that's inside it, and obviously if your processor isn't fast enough to enable that feature to be turned on, then that feature is just not available. Okay, so if you can't get it to work, it's probably because your processor doesn't actually support that feature. Okay. Now we can go on and on, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually show you something very quickly. We're going to start recording. So if I start a recording, just like that. Let me just close that over there. What should happen is we get a nice banner at the top. You're recording this meeting. Make sure that you let everyone know that they're being recorded. Now that will actually appear on everybody's screen. Okay, so if I look at my other laptop, I know you can't see that, but it is actually on both my screens on the other laptop. So that's absolutely fine. So we can just push dismiss and it gives us that little bit back. We can, if we have our attendance, show our participants. So there's our participants. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to raise my hand on one of my ones on my laptop, and it will show me quite categorically over here that I've raised my hand. Okay. It will also give us a little hand signal down there, and that is just the same as if we're in your classroom and one of your students has done that. We are merely raising a hand. Now that hand will stay raised as long as that person does. What we can also do, is we can actually lower their hand for them. So if they can't figure out how to lower their hand, we can just left click on their options and we can lower their hand. We can see that the options now have actually the hand has actually gone. So that's one. We're still recording, obviously, and there is a nice little graphic down here that says that we're recording. So I'm actually just going to stop recording now. You can see the only two, this was where the start recording is, and this is obviously where the stop recording is. So I'm going to stop recording, and yes, I'm going to stop recording. That's actually going to do something really cool in a moment. So recording is being saved, the recording has stopped, the recording will be processed and saved in Microsoft Stream. You can find the link in the chat, so we'll just hit dismiss on that for the time being. We'll come back to that in a moment. So we have our participants window up here. If we want to, we can manage our permissions. So let's just go into manage permissions for a moment. And eventually, I'm sorry, my internet is actually very, very slow today, but in fairness, I am having 3 Teams calls at the same time. You might actually be wondering why I've only got one picture up here. It's because my other Teams client has got no video on at the moment, which is why we've got an SW down here. If SW down here actually had access to a video, then this screen would be split in half. I think Microsoft Teams at the moment splits it up to about 9 different people, and then obviously it just starts populating down here with videos. But yeah, that's the reason why. So if you have somebody that joins without a webcam, this is where they'll turn up. If they join with a webcam, that's where they turn up. Let me just see if that's actually, no, something went wrong. Fabulous. In the manage permissions, when we click that, what should happen is it'll open up in a browser, and it should eventually give us a list of things that we can and can't do. Things like we can actually download the participants, so we can actually see who has actually participated, who's actually logged in to out. Here we go. Right, so if I now just add a screen to this, one moment. So you've seen me you've just added browser source. I know. Okay, that's not working. Okay, let's just capture a window by doing that. What we actually want to capture is Google Chrome. Here we go. Sorry about that, slight intermission there. I click that button saying manage permissions. This is what turns up on the internet. So we get the day and the time, who it is, meeting options, so who can bypass the lobby. People in the organisation can bypass the lobby. We can actually set that to everyone, or people in my organisation, or people in my organisation and trusted organisations. Always let callers bypass the lobby. Yes, yes. Who can present? Everybody can present. That's great. So we can actually say only me, and then that's actually only going to be me. So I'm just going to push save on that. And let's just go back to our Microsoft Teams window. So, sorry, I'm actually using some new software which I'm not massively familiar with, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I do apologise. Okay, let's hit those three buttons. So we've got show meeting notes, so we have notes here. And you can see on the right hand side it's now changed to chat. Obviously we have raising hands. Show meeting details, so that will show us our details there. So in the meeting of help me, I'm being held prisoner, we have this sort of information. So if we wanted to let other people join or let them dial in manually, we can enter full screen. Oh, we're already pretty much in full screen. Background effects we've been through. We can turn on live captions. However, live captions are interesting to say the least. Live captions either work or they don't work. Sometimes they don't quite pick up exactly what you're trying to say, and sometimes it can be quite comical as to what they're actually saying. It is a technical process that seems to be working right now, because obviously things always work when you're trying to say that they're not. Oh, that's really terrible. I give in. Some days technology just doesn't work for you. Apparently life in some days technology doesn't work for you. Okay, perfect example of captions going wrong there. So I'm going to turn those off. We have a keypad, so if we needed to work some bits and pieces out, there's a nice little keypad there that we can use, which I'm not going to bother with. I've never particularly found a use for that. We've got obviously start recording, end meeting, and we can turn off incoming video, so we can actually blank people's video from our end. A couple of other things, we've got the camera, turn the camera off, turn the camera on, microphone, so we can obviously mute and then not mute. This is the interesting one. This is share, and what we can do is we can actually share all sorts of stuff, and they're actually closed at the moment, so I'm not quite sure where it's picking those up from, but we can share different screens. So if I wanted to share a PowerPoint, then okay, let's click on that, and it will actually open up the LCC safeguarding PowerPoint that I have, and then that will display that within our Teams window, so that when it goes out to our students, what they get to see is a large Teams PowerPoint. Let me just put my phone on mute, sorry about that. Just like that. Okay, and then if we want to stop sharing, then we can just click on something else, basically. Let's go to screen 1. So I'm now sharing my entire screen. You can see that this is actually the recording software that I've been using at the moment. So if I actually wanted to show a particular file, I can show it. This is my desktop. Obviously be very careful about what you have set as your desktop background, because you don't want to have something that's contentious, shall we say. And what we can actually do is we can just open up anything we want to, because I'm actually sharing my entire screen at the moment. If I want to stop sharing my screen, down here in the right hand corner we've got the help I'm being held prisoner. We can actually just click stop sharing and it will immediately stop sharing. No problem at all. If I want to end the call, then we hang up. So I'm actually going to hang up, and I'm going to hang up on my other clients over there, which I appreciate you can't see, but trust me, I'm definitely there. Okay, so that's one way of actually joining a meeting or starting a meeting. There is another way. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to schedule a meeting. And now I am free. So this is going to come up as now I'm free. If I don't actually add any attendees in there, everybody in that team gets an invite, so that's fine by me. That's exactly what I want. The invite is going to go out for 5 o'clock, and we'll come back. We can schedule this for obviously whenever we want to, but I'm looking at the time. I want to actually schedule it for about 5 o'clock. We can actually get things to repeat as well. So obviously, if we're looking at teaching a class on a weekly basis, we can get it to repeat every Monday to Friday, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, or we can actually put in our custom sort of stuff as well. Let's have a look. Let's go with, we can type in some details of the meeting. So we say, hello folks. And these are resources. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make that me general. There you go, Simon general. So we can actually just blast it out to everybody in Simon general. And now I can push send. Now what that will immediately do is that fires off an email to everybody. Within the organisation, well, not within the organisation, sorry, within that team, to actually, and it'll come up and say, you know, do you want to accept, tentative, and all that sort of stuff, and it'll go to those people's outlooks. Now again, we don't have to worry about that particularly at the moment, because we're actually going to come back to that shortly. In the meantime, we can see here we have a recording, and I can play that video. And that video is that 1.5-minute recording that we did earlier on when I actually recorded something from Help I'm Being Held Prisoner. So here we go, Help I'm Being Held Prisoner. Just close that over there. Here we go. And there's actually 3 people. Nice it's a slightly different view when we do it.
Make sure that you let everyone know that.
However, there we go, that is our recording. So we've got me, that's the main one, and as you can see, our team's window, our team's background there is absolutely fine. It's twisted it around perfectly. We've got my other laptop down there, and we've got a web browser actually, which is why I can't get video, because obviously it's using the video on that one. So that is already in our chat. Our general chat. So if we ever want to go back and see that, we can see that. That's no problem at all. If we look at our calendar, we have hopefully okay, I'll be honest, it's Sunday today, it's not the working week, it is Sunday afternoon at nearly 5 o'clock. So here's our invite down here, here's our meeting. So I'm actually going to join that meeting. Okay, and the first thing I'm going to do is, before I enter the meeting, I'm going to make sure that my background is blurred out in an appropriate way. So I'm going to push my little blurry thing, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to choose that one. Why not? Let's choose a slightly different Ark one. And you can see up there, we're also a Google Cloud partner as well. So I can click Join Now. Okay, we can see if I open up the show participants, so far I'm the only one here. Okay, so on my other laptop, which I should point out is about 5 feet away, so it's a little bit difficult to actually see from here. No. I can't really see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask to join. Right, so that's going to call me. I'm going to say voice only on that one. Okay, and then I'm going to mute me over there just to make sure. And then I'm going to ask to join that one as well. We'll say video for that one. Why not? So that will actually come up, and there we go, we've got the same sort of screen that we had before. Obviously, if all of these people are in our organisation, it implants that straight into our Outlook calendars, and everything works exactly as it should do. The only problem that we have at the moment, obviously, we're kind of relying on our students, our pupils, actually being where they should be at the time they should be there, which is a little bit sort of tricky, but unfortunately that is the way that it is. There's nothing we can do about that. We can't actually sit over them and you must come on to Teams at this time of day. It doesn't work like that. So that's the 2 main ways that we can actually join a team and join a call. How we can blur stuff, how we can share our screen to people, how we can raise and lower hands, and we can turn off video, we can turn off our speakers and stuff. So if, for the sake of example, you get a knock on the door, you can say, excuse me, I'll be back in 1 moment, You can mute your microphone. Nobody else gets to hear what you're saying now. You can go and answer the door, do whatever it is it needs doing, and then come back and then say, unmute. Sorry about that, class. Where were we? And we'll continue with how the Romans invaded Britain in some time. Okay, so I'm now going to end this call. And I'm going to end the call on my laptop. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to dismiss that. I've left them plenty of feedback in my time. So, eventually this will actually come back into, obviously we can see here, now I'm free, and we can see who actually attended, which is great. We can also, if we wish, we can send messages to obviously people, which I'm not going to bother doing. So when we actually do some video stuff, it's really, really cool. We can call people, we can set up meetings just by clicking the wobbly camera button there. What we can also do is if we go to the calendar, we can actually just put in a new meeting in there. We can add a title, and it's exactly the same as it was before. So we'll just put in there test for the time being. I'm going to leave it as add required attendees because the channel, I'm going to add the channel of me and general, so that's who I want to call, and then I can just put in that test, and I can then send that, and there you go. I've now set myself up a meeting for 6 o'clock tonight, which I hasten to add, I won't be attending because I shall probably be doing another video for you. So that's the easy ways of setting up how we can make a call, how we can make a video call or an audio call, a meeting, and that's how we can blur our background, we can raise hands, we can lower hands, and we can see who's actually attended. So I really hope you found this video useful. I'm going to stop recording now, so hopefully I'll upload this soon, and have a lovely day.